Good morning, everyone. We're back with Building Greenwich. I am your host, Lindsay Potter, here with your host, Scott Elwell, and we're really excited today. I mean, we're excited every Friday to do this podcast, to be honest. Every Friday it gets better and better. And this Friday, we have a special guest, Amy Montimurro. Am I saying that correctly?
You are. Thank you.
Yes. Welcome, Amy.
Good morning, Amy. Thanks
Good
for joining
morning.
us on a Friday after a long week.
Yes.
I know. We
Happy
all
to
were
be
just
here.
saying before we got on the air that this has been a really long week for all of us. And I feel like all the weeks are getting long, although the sun is shining.
It is.
So I would like to just acknowledge that it's a beautiful day outside, which makes everybody happy.
It doesn't, though, because if the sun's shining, a lot of times if I'm in a crappy mood, I was like, I don't want it to shine.
Debbie
Everyone
Downer.
else is happy. I want, misery loves company.
Well, we have enough rain that has been here and is coming. So Debbie Downer will have her week next week because or your week, his week. So Amy is the CEO of Abilis.
Yes.
And we're going to learn so much about Abilis today. And I can't wait for you to share because Abilis just received a massive $3.8 million grant from the Stephen
And
Alexandra Cohen Foundation. Thank you. So tell us a little bit about you and how you came to Abilis. I know you've been with the organization 22 plus years, but you really took over as CEO in 2018.
Yes. Well, Abilis is a nonprofit. We're supporting individuals with intellectual developmental disabilities throughout Lower Fairfield. I started 28 years ago.
Oh, my
when
gosh.
I was 5.
When you were 5,
Right.
yeah, exactly.
And
3, right?
Yeah.
I mean, something like that.
and I when I came to the organization, I actually moved from Rockland County.
Oh, cool.
With a background in social work, and I started with the organization managing residential homes, and as I grew and then I was working to finish my master's degree, I started taking on additional responsibilities. I was fortunate to have a great CEO and mentor at the time who helped train me and really it's unusual now to have a mentor where you work, and it was definitely meaningful for me. And I just continued to grow and develop new skills and take on additional responsibilities. Adding, I think in 2007, I took over the entire adult services department with the organization and was really thrilled to take on the CEO role in 2018.
Oh, they're so lucky to have you. So we're going to have to dig into what the residential program is.
Sure.
Let's assume that people know nothing about it.
Can we go higher level? What is Abilis? Like,
Yes.
what is the elevator pitch? I know nothing about it. And
If he knew nothing,
If
which
we do,
We do,
But for
yeah.
the listeners, like we're here for
Yeah.
them. If they, somebody blind that has no idea what Ableist is, do you make computer chips or do you help people out?
Right.
What
So-
is Ableist?
Abilis, well, it's important to know that we originally were an ARC. It was years and years ago, the Association for Retarded Citizens. First,
I
it was
remember.
children, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, we changed as
Yeah.
the world changed, and I believe it was in 2005 where we changed our name to Abilis.
Okay.
wow, that's pretty recent.
It is
Because
it is.
wasn't it founded in 1951?
It was.
Okay.
And it was Association for Retarded Children, then Citizens,
Okay.
and then it was Greenwich ARC. And really, the organization wanted to lose that.
Right.
We wanted to be the progressive organization
Okay.
that we've always been. And I mean, I even came here from Rockland because I saw a more progressive way of thinking and
Cool.
the way supports were being delivered. So we're a lifespan provider. And
Okay.
I hate saying birth to earth, but that's really who we are.
Okay.
We have
I like that.
one of the first integrated childhood preschools in the state of Connecticut.
Oh, wow.
So we have birth to 3 early intervention. So many times we're in the hospitals with moms when they have the first, concern, or doctors, asking us to come in and help. And we have a team of professionals that provide the PT, OT, speech, and the social workers that are needed in the beginning.
Wow.
When you first have a child that is diagnosed with a developmental disability.
What is OT?
Occupational therapy. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
okay. Yeah, I don't know any of the acronyms.
Speech therapy, occupational therapy.
Okay.
Even feeding. I have 2 children that I actually had that went through our program. They both exited out. So it's not, you don't always stay with Abilis. Our
Right.
goal is to help you,
Live your life.
and move on.
Right.
And in many cases we do. I have 2 children that are typical, and they one was a premature baby, so when she was born at 32 weeks, and which is very small, and our services came in, and babies at that premature stage, typically have difficulty eating and breathing at the same time.
And how scary for the mom.
Very scary for the mom.
You don't know.
And I remember them coming in because she would turn blue when she ate, and they came and they reassured me and they taught me how to feed her. Wow. And everything that our therapists do in our early intervention program is in the home. It's not a center. It's with parents. It's giving them the skills, the caregivers, the families, how to support your child in all these natural environments that we are. Even, if families having trouble with their child behaviorally in the grocery store or wherever, we're in there.
What? That's never happened with...
Yes, of course. No, with temper
screaming
tantrums
kids in the grocery store.
I know. I wish I could have them myself for all those things. But...
it's embarrassing, but also it's such a normal part of life.
It is. And these therapists, well, we don't help with that.
Right. Yeah, no. I'm like, this is, and these are kids that these are.
Yeah, no, this is a little different. Than
Right.
what
Just
you're
a little
to.
different.
Yeah. But it's their
very
support. Their support. They wrap around these families and they help them to help the child and keep your families healthy.
Does it start, like, let's take a hypothetical, if you found out when you were pregnant, how early can that detection take place? Is it at the 16 to 20 week mark?
It could be from an amniocentesis that we are helping parents to go through that process and understand what they're going to be
emotionally, mentally,
everything that they're going to be going through and how we're going to be there to support them so we can, literally hold their hand and walk them through it. So it's not.
Now, do you have ties to the doctors? So like a doctor, when they realize this, connects their client with you?
Yes. So it's both if there's in utero where there's something that's happening and they reach out to us to help the family, or if a child is born if right away in the hospitals, or if a doctor sees something, or before the age of 3, as a child's developing, if they see something, most of the referrals around here come to us to help the families with a diagnosis. So we also are one of 11 providers in the state that have the ability to do diagnostic for autism, and also the intensive services and supports that's needed to help the child. So we're there to help you through that process, and also we'll assign the team that's going to wrap around the family and the child to help them before they age.
I didn't realize just how much you provided. This is incredible. Yes. Wow. So how many people on the team, on the core team? So you're running the show, and then how many people on the core team?
Well, the core team. So we have over 500 employees at Abilis.
Okay.
Our therapy center, which we now have in Stamford at 1150, which eventually will be moving. But they have about 30 staff that are all experts and professionals in the field, helping families and in all their different areas of expertise. Wow. And then in all the other departments within the organization, we have different staff and leaders that help manage all those different departments.
That's amazing.
So 500 people, and how many people are you helping at one moment? One given moment?
At one given moment. So I know monthly we're supporting it. This past month, 218 children in our therapy center and in homes and in child care centers and everywhere. So they're working, and I would say probably between 300 and 400 people during the day, with vocational skill development activities. And
a whole breadth of,
It's a lifespan. It's a lifespan. And I think the organization has grown to meet the needs of the community and the changing needs of the community.
Right. Constantly evolving.
Constantly, yeah.
Constantly, curious. Now, and if for somebody that has gone through your world and then relocates to Florida, do you have partners down there that you can help connect them to, or is there a whole network across the country?
We do help families when they call us and say that they're moving or relocating, but we don't have specific partners in other states.
Yeah, I didn't know how often that happens. I mean, in my world, it's helping people relocate, so I didn't know how often that happens.
Well, I can refer them to you.
Yeah, please, I'll take it.
So now you've got this, and not to fast forward too much, but we'll bounce around, but you've just received this massive grant. So where is the money going to really grow this program? Because I know that you were just talking about the spot in Stamford, and that's home base.
What happened? A therapy center.
A therapy. Yeah. Okay. So you've got this one therapy center, and I think what I read, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you're either adding a second or moving to a larger location.
Right. So we're adding another location.
Okay.
So it's absolutely going to be an expansion of our services.
Huge.
We are, if you ever come to Glenville, where we have our gardens and gift store and things that are always happening.
Where is that located? Just
That's
so that we
at 50 Glenville Street.
Okay. Next to.
Yeah, wait. So,
So if you-
50 is I pull into Glenville, past Glenville Pizza?
Past Glenville Pizza.
Then, everything revolves around the
I,
pizza.
I,
for me.
yes,
Like-
yes. Where Stop and Shop was.
Okay.
Just right.
Okay,
So
okay.
Oh, right there.
Right there. So you pull into Abilis, park in our parking lot, and if you look to the left, you'll see a gardens and gift store. And we have a big greenhouse where we sell floral arrangements. I believe it or not, we're helping a woman with her wedding coming up in a few weeks.
I believe
So,
it. I haven't been there in a really long time, so thank you for reminding me because I'll go down there. And I would like to touch on Glenville for a second because there's so many new businesses opening.
So many.
So
businesses.
many. I just drove by with my kids. There's an ice cream and candy shop, and they looked at me and said, "There's candy."
We're excited.
Well, and a little PSA for Seth to maybe buy flowers for you.
Yes,
Right?
PSA.
I mean, just,
yes.
yeah.
Or you for Megan.
So
No,
what
Seth,
grocery
Seth.
store is coming in there? Do we know?
Well, I would love Trader Joe's. Just saying, TJ's. We
okay.
would love you in Glenville, but I don't know.
So I heard a rumor it was DeChico's. Is
Or-
that wrong?
That would be nice too.
Yeah, I would be happy
I
with either.
drive to
Yeah.
Bedford for DeChico's sometimes because I do like the shopping experience.
Wait, where's the Chico's?
It's in Armonk, and they just
Oh,
have-
yeah. No, I know where
it's
those
it's
are.
just
Yeah.
a really much more intimate shopping experience, and they have a wall of beer that I know people love. that
Yes.
Beer
I don't
wall.
really drink that
Okay.
much anymore, but they have a huge selection of local and not as local, craft beer that people love. So, but that would be great.
Land this plane, Lindsay. Let's get
Okay,
let's get back to the
land
topic.
it. So the grant money is going to this second
Yep.
location,
Yep.
which will be also in Stamford.
It will be on 78 Harvard Avenue,
Awesome.
and it will be both for administrative services and also the majority is going to be the programmatic services and support. So we're currently working with an architect and contractors to develop, this large, beautiful open space for cooking classes, for activities, for vocational career development, for a memory center, for our aging population. So this will be the first phase. So there's 2 floors. So all the funding will be going towards the acquisition and the first phase of the renovation, which will be just the top floor, and then we'll get into the second phase.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you said your aging population, meaning
yes,
that
we have older population,
Right.
And we want to make sure that we have the ability to always serve them. So when I talk to families about being a lifespan provider, and we're there to the very end, making sure that we have the quality of services as people change and they age. And,
know.
99% of those individuals that we're supporting with Down syndrome are developing Alzheimer's and dementia early on.
I was going to say,
So we want to make sure that we're there
Well-
to help them.
And so, for services, could you give a quick summary of who needs the services? You mentioned Down syndrome, and then what are they through the period of a life? I mean, obviously, somebody at 99 needs something different than 3 months, and so
Right.
I mean, and I know there's a
yeah.
lot, but typically for an outsider, or for somebody like me that until I did a lot of research, I frankly didn't know a ton about it.
Okay.
What are just sort of your buffet of services, so to speak?
When you exit out of our birth to 3 system at age 3,
Okay.
you have the ability to stay with us now. We take insurance to help you stay with your therapist through the years. Then, as generally for people, the state of Connecticut is very unique, where we are one of the only states that is IQ defined. So you are diagnosed with an intellectual disability and can receive services if your IQ is below 70, which really leaves a huge gap in our system. Wow.
Wait, so that's not a good thing? That's a bad thing?
It's I don't love it.
Okay.
I think there are individuals that we've met and we've changed the way we're providing services to help those folks because they may have an IQ of 130 and they might be functioning at a 40.
Okay, so
they might
that's-
be on the
gotcha.
autism spectrum
Okay.
and there's no services. So
Gotcha. Okay.
it really leaves families in a bind.
Yeah.
How are they going to help them? So we've been identifying ways to help those families, and we've expanded our services and especially our housing opportunities specifically for this population.
yeah, wow.
So
Things you just
yeah.
don't think about,
Yeah,
and
you don't.
we always say when it doesn't affect you, you don't necessarily think about it, and then you learn, and it can't not affect you going forward because it's breaking my heart to hear. But it's also making me feel so good to know that you're there for this population.
Well, and outside state stuff, we get so much text on like this bill, and quick glance. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. And the way you're talking about the IQ stuff is like, oh, that sounds good if that means a group under 70 gets a ton of help. but I didn't, we don't know as outsiders because I don't have a direct tie to it.
Right.
And so to hear from your side, these bills and stuff, these rules,
Right. Well, if you
what
think
would
about
help?
even if somebody has a 72 IQ, what that looks like, and they're
Yeah.
not, capable of having the
No,
support
absolutely.
that they need
Right.
from the state. And
Let's
it's
get them
very
the support.
difficult. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, I do. It does affect me personally. We have family members that live in upstate New York, but who are Asperger's and pretty extreme on the spectrum, and who are 38 years old but functioning like a 6-year-old in most cases, and yet want to live on their own and want to be a part of functioning society, but really need the guidance. And state to state, it's so different. And
That's right.
it's really challenging, especially for their mother, to feel like they're going to be okay out there in the world.
Absolutely.
Even though they're supported by their small communities that they live in, it's challenging to trust that, one of them just got taken advantage of on a Facebook. Someone took all this money from him, all his whole savings account, because he didn't know.
You're kidding.
No, and
that's
but
such
it's
bullshit.
But he wasn't necessarily. He was doing this on his own because he really wants the freedom of I'm fine. I'm fine. I can live on my own. I'm a fully functioning adult. But what he doesn't realize that he's not. So
Right. And there's dignity risk.
it's big.
So
Right.
we have to make sure that, and our goal is to give people the supports they need so they can live as independently a life as possible.
Yes.
But we know we have to put in those supports to protect them.
Yeah.
Okay, so landing the plane on. What do you do? What do you do? And so, my child, myself, I've graduated out of the, what's the early
Three.
stage?
So you've graduated.
I'm past three.
You go to the school system.
Okay.
And they provide special education services to children. And we're always there as a resource to families so they understand the IEP process.
Okay.
They understand their roles of advocates and making sure their children have what they need in the schools. And the way the state is now, actually, they just changed it. So at age 22, you receive services from the state. So you receive depending on what your level of need is, the state will provide you with a budget and you seek a provider.
Okay.
We're one of, the only organizations that, we do have a waiting list of families that are needing services, which is why we're so excited that we're expanding. And we start helping them to understand, what it is the person wants, what their dreams are, what the family's dreams. Obviously, we care what they think, but we want to help each person. So we have activities. For us, it's the most important thing. The state doesn't provide any services or funding for us, which is why we're always fundraising for friendship, for fun. The best way to transition into services in a community is to have friends.
Yeah.
And if you ask me, this tends to be the loneliest population there is. I know some people think it's the elderly, but
I can't fathom. I mean, I can't
I
imagine.
really-
And
really
it's
can't.
got to be so great to introduce them to others that are going through different
Right.
struggles. And,
Right.
I mean, it's, and you're able to just aggregate them together, to like get activities and stuff
and
for them.
naturally.
That's
Well, and you mentioned before that you have cooking classes at the therapy center, and you have all of these opportunities for people. But do they go there in the morning and stay there all day? What does that look like?
Everything we do is community based.
Okay.
So I know, landing your plane.
Yeah.
So I'm going back to,
Thank you, by the way.
Okay.
Lindsay and I we could be talking about
too much to
Glenville
cover.
Pizza,
I know,
by the way.
It really is a lot to cover.
We could talk about Glenville Pizza.
No. This is why we're here, and this is a lot more important than Glenville Pizza. Sorry, guys.
So we provide the activities. And then as we're trying to, the organization is unique. We know it's not one size fits all. We want to meet each person where they are. So, and you've probably seen over the past 5 years, our team has worked so hard at developing all these different options and opportunities to meet each person where they are, to give them all community-based training opportunities so that they can get a job. So our goal is for every person that we're supporting to have friends, a full meaningful day, a job, and whatever they can do by themselves, we'll support them, and housing.
Yeah.
So we do all of that, and it's very much person-centered, and it's not within four walls. So when you see us developing all of these businesses, it's for the person. So they develop those skills, learn how to use a POS system, interact with customers, food service, floral, everything we're doing. The community's involved in the process now.
Right.
So, those who are not used to seeing people with disabilities, they're front and center. So the
fantastic.
community is participating in this process.
Yeah, Coffee for Good is my local coffee shop, and where I love to take someone that I have a meeting with, because I really love to support them, and they also have, in my opinion, really great coffee, but it forces you to slow down and appreciate, when I'm ordering my coffee, it's not like, let's go, I need a coffee, get me out of here. It's, what would you like? And then it's you have to connect with the person behind the counter, and how hard they're working to take your order and to get it right. And it just gives you pause, and it makes you, and that's why, in my opinion, it's a really nice place to meet someone and to sit and have coffee, because everyone's just slowing down in there. It's not a rush culture. It's like, enjoy this cup of coffee.
And a quick plug for Coffee for Good. It does have fantastic parking.
Yes.
I mean, which is so rare.
It's also a beautiful building.
Fantastic parking. It's a neat old building, and it is a great place to meet up with people. Yeah, to slow down for a second. But I take a lot of meetings with clients there, and it is
and they run an amazing program for the kids that are working there, training them so that they can go and have a job somewhere. They celebrate. It's fun.
Yes, that was unique for us. It's a separate 501c3.
Right.
It is. We were proud to be a founding member.
That's awesome.
It's not
That's
usual.
awesome.
Usually we spend at least 15 times knocking on a door to somebody to consider being an employer for a person with a disability. It's unusual for somebody to come to me and say, how can I be a part of this process? So Coffee for Good is great.
She's an amazing leader. So.
Yep.
And I was at the YMCA, which I believe hires a couple people, and they're definitely
another
involved.
Partner, Matt, has been incredible over at the YMCA.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
So who else do you partner with while we're in this conversation?
Big. So we partner with the town.
Right.
We partner with the Greenwich Library. So we oversee the cafe at the Greenwich Library. We have 6 people working over there at all different times. The Island Beach Cafe concession stand, which is so much fun. I don't know if you've been out there and
not in a few
Island
years,
Beach is awesome. Take the ferry; it's a great juxtaposition, and we're at a golf club that has a group that goes through once a week, I believe, in Greenwich. And I mean, it's a large group. We have a friend, and I don't know exactly how it's involved, but I
don't know which golf club.
Stanwich, but
Okay.
they have. I mean, they're and it's really neat because we know people involved in it, and their children have a group of friends that are in a different world, but in the same environment, and so they just love being around other people. And for me, it's neat to to help out.
Yeah, it honestly, when it's all about relationships, it's all about partnerships. So, and Greenwich Library was our first partner as taking over. And during COVID, taking over a cafe. That's not our area of expertise, so we had to learn through that process on how to run a business. And
I go there for lunch because they have great food, and same thing. It makes me slow down and focus on what I need to do, and I love supporting them. And I teach some classes at the library too, so I work with Shaban, and I love everyone over there. But they have great food. Also, garden catering serves through the library.
Garden catering does the library?
Yep, and so does Happiness Is from Banksville. Our Curies. There are a lot of great options.
And they have great parking.
And they have great parking.
Near the avenue with great parking.
The renovation is beautiful.
All boils down to parking. Yeah.
Well, I live in the car. I mean, I'm in the car 24/7. I can tell you all the horrible spots and all the great spots. And Greenwich Library, I may or may not have parked there and walked elsewhere, but they have really good parking.
Well, and so you have an event coming up there soon, don't you? At the library? Doesn't Abilis have an event? Coming up? It's on my list.
The best is with guests asking questions that you're like, I have no clue what you're talking about.
It was not my.
So, I did the same thing with golf. You're like, Scott, you're an idiot.
I don't know. Do we have an event? I mean, we have a lot going on.
You have a lot going on.
But I do know we are working on, with our gardens and gifts, there is an event happening there. We're working on helping them with their centerpieces, and actually other nonprofits are now calling us to help them with their events from our gardens and gifts. Greenwich International Film Festival. We made beautiful
They're celebrating their
centerpieces.
10 year this year. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That is pretty wild.
So great.
Do you work with Greenwich Hospital and the hospital systems? I mean, I assume there's got to be a good connection to help out. Because they're meeting first time engagement. Especially with newborns and people that are, to me, a doctor is like the first person to learn about all of this.
So we have the partnership, the cafes. I could sit here and talk to you for days. And our partnership, Greenwich Hospital, was also our first partner for Project Search. And that is an internship program for our adults. So it's a curriculum that was developed specifically in Cincinnati, Ohio. And it's a license, and our organization was able to partner with Greenwich Hospital as the first host site.
Okay.
Where interns can rotate throughout the hospital, learn, develop skills that lead towards employment. And it only takes one person to be the first. So Greenwich
That's awesome.
Library was the first place to open their doors to us, and then following the town, Island Beach, and then all these other people who want us to oversee their cafes. And if it makes sense, we'll do it. The project search it is best practice.
Yeah.
So we're thrilled. Greenwich Hospital, other people started seeing that.
Yes.
Darien YMCA, they are a new partner.
The newer one, that's the newer one in Darien, or is that's New Canaan has a new
That's New
Y?
Canaan. Darien
that's-
ages ago had a new YMCA that's right on the water.
Oh,
I mean,
it's
it's an
beautiful.
insane. You're running and you're on the water.
Oh, wow.
It is
Yeah, the
insane.
YMCA.
And our cafe is beautiful.
Oh, is it?
Water view.
Oh, I've got to
It's
go there. I
magnificent.
mean,
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've never been there.
Well, semi-topical, and obviously we're focused on Greenwich. Look behind you. But what is your? You said Lower Fairfield County. Like that's your world right now. Like what is that?
But up to Wilton, right?
We have, yes, we do support Wilton as well. We want to make sure that we're in areas where we can ensure quality.
Right.
So, our residential services are not going to go beyond Norwalk. So we now have 5 homes that we're managing there. We have 73 different residential locations throughout Lower Fairfield.
Wait. So that's all independent houses that
That
you
is-
run or own or
Yes.
like?
So it's a combination of own and rent.
Okay.
Wow.
And it's apartments, it's residential group homes.
Oh, that's
that
fantastic.
you're thinking. It's for people who shared living. We have new partnerships in Darien for housing.
Wow.
That has 12 units. We have a staff living there, and the majority of people that are living there are the gap in the system.
Right.
They need somebody to live there, to be there
Yeah.
if something happens.
Yeah.
But they want their independence, somebody to check on them, maybe help them with meal planning, budgeting, shopping, all the things that, you want to make sure that people are safe. And it's for many of them in their 40s, their first time living independently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're trying
exciting.
Yeah. Oh, it's
That's
amazing.
really neat.
Yeah.
And you said you do take insurance.
For our therapy center, we take
Okay.
insurance.
That must have been a complicated hurdle. Like, were you there when they started taking insurance?
Yes.
Like, I can't
We
fathom.
actually went through the process during COVID.
But how great it is!
It's amazing.
I mean, for
Yeah.
the client, for the use, you're.
It's for the parents and the children when they're working with the birth to 3 system. They don't want to they get attached to the therapist. So
Yeah.
we wanted to make sure that they're able to stay with their therapist.
And it's so tough if it's out of network, and it's
I know.
having dealt with it myself on some certain things. It's fantastic you did. I mean, are you trying to get to different levels of insurance now, or like open it
It's a
up? Like,
bit-
I don't know that world. I just know
Yeah,
it's a
I
pain in
mean,
the
part
ass.
of it is a resource problem for us to keep
Yeah.
having the resources and somebody dedicated to just doing that whole process. But we do participate in enough that we're able to help the majority of people that are transferring out.
That's fantastic.
So most of Fairfield County, but the majority is probably in Stanford, where the therapy centers are.
So the therapy center is just our children's services.
Okay.
So our adult population is the largest part of the organization. So that's the activities, and that's the vocational development and skills.
community aspect.
That's right. So
Yeah.
all the cafes that are now, we have 2 in Darien. We have the Greenwich Library. We have the Island Beach. We're opening Monday at the Stanford Courthouse.
Oh,
We're
cool.
going to be managing their cafe.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, hopefully you won't be there, but if you want to come visit
No,
us, just
I'd like to not.
If you're not fighting
That
a
also
parking
didn't
I
they?
may or may not have.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
been there, but
They just rebuilt
good
that,
things.
didn't they? Is that the police station where
No,
the
it's
courthouse is?
Is it?
Or the one right downtown?
Why are you
Stanford?
asking
Right.
about the police station?
Well, I drive
Like,
by it all the time because Lily has dance up
Sure
there.
you do. Sure you do.
I've been in there once probably for a ticket, but
A ticket, jury duty, something.
jury
Yeah.
duty.
Yeah.
Oh, it was jury duty. That's
Okay,
what it was.
so that's
Thank
where you
you.
were. That's the building.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure,
Okay.
sure,
Yes.
sure. Yeah, yeah,
and it's
yeah, yeah.
fairly new, isn't it? Didn't they rebuild it?
I don't know if they. I
I
don't,
don't
know
know.
when the last time they had any renovation, but I know that. I mean, it looks the same to me.
Okay. I have
It's
not been in
Stanford's
trouble
right-
with the law.
Yeah, well, no, I'm glad to hear that.
I'm a
Yeah,
good
that's
citizen, but I did do
Please
jury
call
duty.
us out.
Yeah.
Please. I do that to Lindsay.
I've had my fair share of tickets.
And then what? Okay, so we have a lot of coffee shops and stuff of that nature. YMCAs. What else are you helping, engage people in, I guess, your 30s to 50s or something?
So we're it's really meeting each person where they are.
Yeah.
So we have what we call our LEAP sites, which is the transition program. So those we're at First Presbyterian Church. We have a site over there. We have a site in Stamford that we lease in a church.
Cool.
Everything is training individuals. It's like a soft landing from the high school years, making sure that we're able to teach them. No, that's
I'm
okay.
just saying, all I can hear is.
Sorry.
So, Scott,
No, please
Thank you,
tell
Whitney.
me.
I'll edit this part out, but all I hear you're breathing.
Am I breathing?
I
No.
think you should keep the part.
Is in my ear.
Stop breathing and reading.
Stop breathing. No, it's because you're sitting close, which isn't a bad thing.
Outside
Sorry to
listener,
cut you
we're
off.
trying to understand how these mics work.
We're
so
figuring out the audio.
bear with us.
Yeah, no, so the cafes.
That's okay. Where was I before Scott started breathing? Okay. I know where I am. Transition. So it's the soft landing for individuals as they're aging out of the schools.
Okay.
Making sure that, like I said, they have friends, they have fun, they have opportunities to,
love that.
share, and families are supported. And then, it depending on where they live throughout Lower Fairfield and what they want to do and what kind of friends are they looking for, we help them to figure out, okay, where's their hub going to be?
Right.
So where we have the Westport location, we have the Stamford, the Norwalk. We have 2 sites in Norwalk now, depending on where people are.
Cool.
Yeah, and they're all community based, so they have to have access to maybe public transportation, so we can teach travel training.
Makes sense.
So we can, how do you use the library? How do you use the Y?
Right.
The things that
The
we
basics,
all do,
yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that they can access naturally all the community resources that we have.
Do you have people approaching you looking for help or looking to help? As
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every
Every day
day
somebody's looking for help.
Yeah.
Right. That's a great
yeah.
question. And I was going to ask similar in that, there are so many places to donate to in this town, and there are so many events to go to. But one of our friends that we had on the podcast very early on, she was our first guest, who's deeply involved in the nonprofit sector. Her name is Nina, but she had said to us, the way that I think about it is, if it pulls on your heartstrings, then get involved. That's where you want to start to donate your time, your money, whatever you can give. But how can people in our community be of service to Abilis? How can they contribute, whether it's monetary, their time, their energy? What are ways that people can get involved so that we can share that? Because I want to know selfishly, but
we're here to help.
Right.
And not only what are ways that people can do, but like, what do you need? I mean, I'm all for heartstrings, but I think this is fantastic, but I don't know what you need, like, besides money.
Yeah, we always
which
need
is always
money.
good, right?
Yeah, yes. Our organization, we have to raise over $3 million a year.
Okay.
To make sure that we're able to continue the quality that we provide. The state just doesn't believe that we need cafes and training platforms and all the different things that we're doing.
Right.
Politicians, get your act together and
Yes,
help us out,
that would be
please. Come on, guys.
fantastic. But we continue to be creative that way, so that we do fundraise. I'm thankful that we live in a community that's very generous. But I agree, volunteering is equally important.
Okay.
And when people come in, how can I help you? Well, tell me what you like to do. Right. So if you're a musician, happy to have you come and help in our activities program. Maybe you can teach some skills or lead some groups and enhance the quality of life for individuals. If you're a gardener, I have 73 different locations. Maybe you can come and, help the residents to build a garden. I had an Eagle Scout came to me in Darien. He built a huge garden, and he taught the residents how to plant for vegetables. And he comes
That's
and he
awesome.
waters.
I love that.
Yes,
That's awesome.
Yeah. And actually, all the schools here, Greenwich Country Day is a huge, very active supporter of the organization.
Okay, good.
Greenwich, Academy, I would love to get more of the youth involved.
we were just talking about
We can
this
do
last
that. We
night
can
because
help.
I
Or
believe that
try.
Country Day has a program where they're
do.
doing container farming and
The French farm.
Yeah, the French farm. And a friend of mine is a master gardener was telling me that when you teach someone the process of from seed to table, basically like planting food and then watching it grow and cultivating it and eating it, it's a lifelong skill. And it's a really special thing to teach, especially someone in your community, because it's a beautiful part of life and it's a necessary part of life. And so these container gardens are popping up because it's sustainable and it's contained. But that's so great that you're working with the schools, because I think, I would love to see more schools adopting these types of programs.
Absolutely. We have a very large youth board that a volunteer came in and she helped me reorganize when I first took over. And we're trying to get more schools involved.
Right.
Last weekend we had Together We Shine. I don't know if you are aware what that was.
I heard about it.
It was an amazing event. It is all the youth in our community cheering on individuals with disabilities as they walk the red carpet. They're dancing
yes,
together.
Of course,
cool.
of course.
Volunteering.
Yeah.
And really, it shows the true integration. And for me, it's getting the next generation involved.
Yeah.
We want our youth to know that they should be giving back.
Yeah.
And the skills and abilities that we all have, everybody has some kind of a disability, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
just, recognizing that, being comfortable with people with disabilities. I see the youth board come in, they were making centerpieces, and they're learning, how to work with somebody with different abilities and
Who doesn't move as fast as
Right,
you.
right.
And it teaches you patience and kindness is key.
and it's a bit humbling for them.
Yeah, it is. Oh, that's great that there's a huge youth board. I didn't know that.
Yes. Yeah. They're amazing.
So if
Amazing.
if a kid say was interested in being a part of that, how do they go about doing that? Just reach out to Okay.
us. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's on our website about volunteering. It goes right into our system. We'll contact them.
Okay.
And it's more than I know all the seniors need to do interning at the end. So we do get that large group that have to get their
I just got the email last
yeah.
week.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
can you
yeah.
take 2 interns? I was
Take
like,
2 interns.
fine. What do I need to do?
I've gotten a text about a senior.
Did you say yes?
I
I
did
did.
say yes, of
I'm going
course.
to take 2.
Of course.
Another question is, on your side, what does your group want to do? And are there do they have interests that they want to get more involved with?
They want jobs.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Volunteer opportunities. And everything, like I said, is about these partnerships that we've developed. And I think, we have a marketing director who's really worked hard to get our name out there and to make sure that people know who we are, what we do, how they can help us. What people need jobs. I know there's a workforce shortage.
Yeah.
If employers out there see a need, we're happy to work with them to find the right fit and help them to fill those positions. They have to be willing to give people with disabilities a chance.
And is there younger age bracket, so it's less about jobs but more about interests? In your tenure there, have you seen sort of an involvement with, I don't know, social media or something? Like, what are their interests? Like, what excites them, or like, what have you seen that
For the people we're supporting?
Yeah, for the people that you're supporting. What are what's new or I might not be aware of that really interests them?
Well, there's been
sporting events, stuff like
Yep.
that. I don't know.
There's been a huge shift. Well, they're involved in everything that we're all involved in.
Yeah,
They have
okay.
the same interest that we do. They want to go to, concerts and sporting events, and they want to be a part of the community and accepted and integrated and included.
Right, like
You
any
okay?
normal person. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's my cough. Okay, I'll
I
sit
know.
back.
Well, someone told me the other day about some 100-day cough that people are it just hangs on for 100 days. It's been,
there's
but then
all
it's
kinds of
done. Like if I
viruses.
hit the 100 days,
right,
it's
like,
gone.
I'm at 99. This thing
And tomorrow
better
will
be
be
gone
fine.
tomorrow.
Well, and so the sporting events and stuff of that nature. I'm curious, like, what are activities that that really excite your group, and what could we lean into? Because
Right.
there's somebody at this table that goes to concerts literally every other night.
That's me.
It's not me.
He's talking about me.
And so, like, how
Music
could
is my
how could we
church.
help on that side? It's,
we're
engagement
always,
side. Yeah.
We're, if people have access to tickets,
Okay.
funding is always an issue. So if there are opportunities for us, we do receive from different, arenas tickets for different shows, not enough.
Yeah.
But, there's not really anything that I could think of that wouldn't interest somebody. Everybody has
course.
different
Yeah.
interests. So,
Totally.
any connections that people want to make for us to access different types
So
of
my
activities.
daughters have zero interest in going to Monster Truck in Bridgeport, but I would love to take a bunch of people for myself to go to Monster Truck. But maybe
Yeah,
I could
yeah.
when they come back.
I haven't met a lot of people that like that, especially those with like sensory issues. That won't work.
Okay,
Or
okay.
we'll all be sitting like this.
Right.
With
I took
covering
my
our ears.
kids to that one
Yeah.
year when they were young. It was an intense experience.
I'm looking
Yeah,
for
yeah.
people to take to Monster Truck
Okay.
because my daughters don't want to.
I know that there's an organization recently that popped up, and I might butcher the name, but I think it's Everybody Everywhere, because they've been doing concerts where the kids and adults with disabilities, they are the musicians. So they have the ability to get up on the stage. It's been at Garcia's at the Capitol Theater.
That's
Okay,
really
yes.
cool.
Nikki Corbo's he's involved, and he told me about it, and I really want to get involved because he said it's just such a beautiful sight to see these people on the stage. Like, they are the star. They're the musician, and the sound is healing. I'm going to butcher it because I've just learned about it a few weeks ago, but Everybody Everywhere, I believe it's called, and I'll tag it what it really is called, because I know it's not that, but it's
music is a big
big deal. And so it brings them together, and there are professional musicians who are there to help, like, guide, and they put together a song apparently. But I can't wait to go to the next. I couldn't go to the last event that they had at Garcia's, but they are doing them more often, and it just looked like a really cool community event.
I actually have a meeting with them next week.
So good.
I'm going to be
awesome.
I know they're working with a group that we support.
Oh, great. Okay.
For people who have just varying needs that need more, physical supports, medical supports, that, we want to get them engaged in other, opportunities. Every Monday we have a youth theater group that's music, acting. Then we have the adult population. So
maybe my husband could help with that. Well, it's funny because I had an interview yesterday on the podcast that I do separately, and I interviewed my friend Catherine, who you also know, at the Nod Center. Mm-hmm. And I'm just remembering now because we talked about Abilis, because what I didn't know is that there are classes taught there. They go there once a week.
Yes,
I think. Yeah.
She does sound healing.
So Catherine Palisi Jones, who grew up in Greenwich and has this Nod Center in Stamford, it's a center for healing. I've gone for a number of sound bath evenings, meditations, and she was saying that she works with the ableist population because the first time they did it, it was just such a success that she created a program, and now they're up there every week.
That is amazing. All the parents are thrilled, and individuals.
So great.
And she does such an incredible job for people who have more behavioral needs and self-regulating issues, that they now that you can see them, the change in their breathing when they're on their way to go see Catherine at the Nod Center.
Okay, that's fantastic. And that sort of was touching upon, like, that activity is something really...
It's amazing. I mean, we will, if people have ideas in different ways, we're always open to looking at how we can improve the services and the quality and the opportunities for people.
She's got an insane array of instruments. Like, she's got everything from a giant gong to this accordion. I forget what she calls it, but it's got a name. It's a special accordion, and everything in between. And like she said to me yesterday, all I want is more instruments, because each instrument provides a different sound that resonates in the body when she's doing the work of sound healing that heals you in a different way. So it'll take you one day. I think you'll really appreciate sound healing. There's a guy in...
Can I bring you to Monster Truck after?
I don't know about that. You can take my kids. But a guy in Rye does it too, Gary Posner. So I've been to his sound meditations, but there are always people with disabilities that are joining the classes because of the healing benefits, calming the nervous system.
That's right.
Cool.
Scott's averse to any healing that we talk about.
I'll try it. I mean, I can't slow my brain down enough.
Right, but that's why you do it. That's why you do it. You do it to learn over time.
But I get there, and I'll try. That's your goal for this year.
That's my goal.
Get me onto that. And then...
I'm big into meditation and healing in any way, shape, and form, because life is so fast. And I used to be such a fan of hustle culture, and I'm now no longer. I mean, I still am in it, but in a very different way. I know how to regulate.
You are moving at 100. I mean,
right.
I would love to see you.
No one sees
down.
me when I'm meditating.
I've never
and that's
seen
how I go so fast. Otherwise,
Catherine's always telling me you need to come and just relax.
Yeah, it's.
I hear
well, my
daily.
husband always says that you should, you should just relax. Take this time to relax. And for me, working out is a relaxation. My meditation is relaxation. Like, I find pockets, but I'm just a go kind of girl. Always have been. It's not like this is something I woke. It's not a bad thing.
To nobody's surprise.
No
one is
surprised. That's why I go to concerts so often. I need to shake it off. So I need to dance, because my energy is I vibrate at a high level. So I need to shake it off. So is there anything else that we haven't covered? I mean, there's honestly, you said earlier we could sit here for days, and we really could. This is so fun. Also, like, we could just spend
and we
the rest
could get
of Friday
into
here.
specifics on your locations and your history. And I mean, I'm going to ask the big question: like, how did you get involved in this? And like, it's interesting to hear that you then had children that were also involved, but that happened after your involvement, right?
Yes.
I mean, so that's not what led you here.
When you were
No.
5,
When I was
28
5,
years ago.
right.
Yeah, when you're 3.5 years old and you decide that's what you want to do. But yeah, what is your quick history? Like, how did you get involved?
I volunteered in Special Olympics when I was in high school. So I was one of those
cool.
people who knew exactly what I wanted to do when I grew
That's
up.
awesome.
And I loved it. And so I wasn't sure if I wanted to go into therapeutic recreation. What did I want to do? But I did wind up going into social work. And this is the only population in social work that I've worked with. So it's been a long time. I started in New York.
It's a big population.
It's
that
a
you're
large
working
one.
with.
Yeah. But I fell in love. It was very rewarding to me. I enjoyed working with individuals. I enjoyed working with families. And when I actually was teaching at Fordham, for me, I wanted so much to emphasize to the students that I was working with that there is a career in working with this population. And, it may not say social work, but it is social work.
Right.
And getting, different students and interns to, join this field.
That's awesome.
There are so many ways to be a part of the field. I think as a student, when you're young, you really don't see the forest through the trees. You see doctor, a lawyer, social work. You don't know all the intricacies of what's available to you. And so it's great to have a professor back when you were teaching at Fordham to give those options to the kids. And I think we're getting better as a culture of sharing. I mean, social media and technology have allowed for you to see really what's out there on a grand scale.
Yep. Yes.
In terms of opportunity.
And you said you have a wait list? Like it's, you can't handle the number of people right now? Like
we
you need to
receive
grow
calls
for
every day.
Yeah.
And our Glenville space is 13,000 square feet.
Okay.
So that's why we're excited to be in 26.
13,000 square feet?
Right. It's very small. It's very small.
13,000 square feet? I thought that was pretty big. Isn't that
Well,
big?
we're moving into 26,000. So
Oh,
double.
wow.
Okay.
But that you have to think about 500 employees.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
And everything is community based, so you would think that was okay. But we serve, people with varying needs, people who use wheelchairs that need,
Right.
as adults,
You need the space.
medical monitoring. They need, we have oxygen, we have feeding. People don't realize that we are,
Oh, wow.
if you think about the different needs, it's anybody with a developmental disability, and sometimes that's the physical, medical, behavioral monitoring. It's not everybody able to go working at our cafes. We want to make sure, which is why this new building is going to be so important, that we have something for everyone. We have a therapeutic environment where people can have music all day long and arts and different things that are going to be meaningful to them.
No, I mean, that's fantastic. And after jobs and employment, it's sort of back to general activities and, keeping people busy. And then I assume working with different organizations that can house people that need different types of needs, like physical and stuff.
What do you mean by?
I'm thinking of, frankly, my parents as
Right.
they go, as they age into, and they need different lifestyles.
Right.
You work along that, that path. I mean, I didn't realize how, the whole life you're helping people.
The whole life. And it's reassuring to parents. What's the biggest question? What is going to happen when I'm gone? Who's going to be there? And they know now. It's okay. It's reassuring
awesome.
that we're literally there holding their child's hand at the very end of their life.
That's awesome.
And they don't have to worry.
What a sense of peace that must bring so
Yeah.
many families. I mean, I'm just sitting here in gratitude for health and all the abilities that we have as able-bodied humans.
Yep.
Because we're blessed in that way. And I'm just so thankful for you and everything that you're doing for the community, the greater community, Greenwich and the surrounding areas, because it's important work. And, you said earlier, you're one of those people who just knew what they wanted to do.
Yeah, I was lucky.
My husband's one of those people. I'm one of the other side who is still figuring that out. But I think that there are two camps. You either just know and you live it, or you're working to figure it out and doing what feels right along the way, So they're lucky to have you, and
I'm lucky to have them.
It's an amazing organization, and we will both continue to support now that we know so much more. There are so many more ways that we can support, and we'll tag everything here in the show notes. But other than that, I'm just
and final closeout. Can you tell everyone how if someone wants to donate, where should they go or get involvement? What's the phone number and website and all that?
So, Abilis.us.
I mean, it'll be tagged, but just
Abilis.us. There's ways to donate, volunteer. We have our upcoming gala, April 27th at the Greenwich Country Club.
Yeah.
Love to have people dancing with stars. I should do my plug for you. We're always looking for dancers.
Boy.
And those that are listening to this, she blatantly looked right at Lindsay,
I did look
not
at
at me.
Lindsay. I do know she's an athlete. I did look at you too.
I don't dance like the Dancing with the Stars people.
This is a fun event that's all about fundraising.
Okay.
Brendan Fraser is and he will be one of the judges with two other celebrity judges.
He's a great guy. His son was a student of my husband's and was an actor with him for years. So, and he's just a great human to have in the community. So it's great that he'll be there.
Amazing parents.
Yeah.
So I'm not done. We're going to definitely go back to Dancing
carry
with Stars.
on.
So we pair you with a Fred Astaire dancer professional.
Okay, there we go.
And they provide dance
That's
lessons.
very helpful.
And you have a team and for people to vote, and that's where the fundraising comes in for the event. And people buy tables, and they come and they support each dancer. We have Dr. Weirley, for example, told me she's on our board of directors. She's a neurologist in town. And I said, could you please do it? And she's like, oh, I'll do it for you, but I don't know how to dance. And she was hysterical.
It's fun. It should
so
be
much fun. She was amazing. It's just it's a lot of fun, and your families can support you. So
that is a really
maybe you or your listeners will
maybe
consider.
Once again, not looking at me.
I am.
When we were getting married, a friend gifted us dance lessons at Fred Astaire, and my husband is an amazing dancer, and I am more of a concert dancer, so he can do like ballroom and waltzing and knows all the dances because he works in the theater world, and I on the other hand, am not. So when we were getting trained for our wedding so that we could do this waltz together, the instructor kept going to Seth and saying, let me show you, Lindsay, how it's done. I'll dance with your husband. I was like, I'm the one that needs to learn. Okay. Stop dancing with him. He knows what he's doing. It's me.
Well, you could dance with your husband too. They can teach you both, but it's fun when you're
I think it would be hilarious.
Yep.
Okay.
I went through the whole dance.
Scott's
thing
thinking
in
about it
Greenwich.
too.
No. And I can do all the moves. Like
Yes.
I mean, I went through that. It's
I
like
saw you
plugged
dancing
in.
with your daughter.
Yeah,
other
I
night.
know
You
all
do
those
have the
spins
moves
and all that
right?
stuff.
So I can start looking.
Finally looking at me.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Absolutely,
It's okay.
100%.
I'll see if we can go to the event and donate. I mean, closing out what, and that's all on your website.
It's all yes. Our banners are up. I don't know Dancing Stars. Right now, we're in the stages of getting our dancers together before we put up our website.
Awesome.
But our walk is in October. We have lots going on.
Yeah, you do have a lot going on.
We'll tag it all.
We'll tag it all. We'll continue to support it. And thank you.
Yeah. No.
Thanks for being here. This has been fun.
Yeah.
I mean, we should just go get lunch and call it a day.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everybody for listening. I'll let you close out. You have the better
No,
voice
you're
today.
good. You close it out. I opened it up today. It's Friday.
Well, thank you everyone for listening, and we're off.
We're off.
Bye.
Have a great weekend. Amy, that was awesome.